I stopped trusting my camera on November 14th, 2023. My name is Marcus Chen, and I've been a forensic photographer with the Westchester County Medical Examiner's Office for 8 years. Before that night, my job was simple. Document everything, miss nothing, let the evidence speak. I photographed bodies in alleys, vehicles wrapped around guardrails, bedrooms where someone decided they couldn't go on. I'd learned to see through the lens first, feel later. It kept me functional. The call came in at 11:47 p.m., a hit and run on the access road near Kensico Reservoir. The dispatcher's voice had that particular flatness that meant a bad scene. Single victim, unresponsive. State police are requesting ME photography before transport. I grabbed my gear and drove north through light rain. The reservoir roads were maintenance routes, mostly, narrow asphalt threading between the water and dense woods. During the day, joggers used them. At night, they belonged to nobody. This particular stretch, Old Pump Station Road, had seen 3 vehicular deaths in the past 6 years. The county kept meaning to install better lighting. I arrived to find 2 state troopers and an ambulance, their emergency lights painting the wet pavement in rhythmic reds and blues. The body lay 30 feet from a curve, covered by a yellow tarp. One trooper, a younger guy named Holloway, walked over as I pulled on my gloves. "Witness called it in 20 minutes ago," he said. "Jogger found him. No vehicle on scene, no skid marks we can see. Medical examiners en route, but they want your photos first." I nodded and approached the tarp. Standard procedure. I'd done this 200 times. I lifted the tarp and started with wide shots, establishing the scene, the position of the body relative to the road, the tree line. The victim was male, maybe mid-30s, wearing running gear. Significant head trauma. Blood pooled beneath him, already diluting in the rain. I worked methodically. Overhead angles, close-ups of injuries, shots of his hands, his shoes, the surrounding asphalt. My camera, a Canon EOS R5, with timestamp and GPS metadata enabled, clicked steadily. 63 photos in 15 minutes. Thorough documentation. Everything by the book. The medical examiner, Dr. Portman, arrived as I was finishing. She crouched beside the body, her pen light sweeping over the injuries. "Time of death, maybe an hour ago," she said. "We'll know more at autopsy." I helped load the body into the ambulance and drove back to the morgue to offload my files. In my office, I connected the camera to my workstation and started the transfer. The photos would go into the case file, cross-referenced with the police report. Routine. Except when the first image appeared on my screen, something was wrong. The timestamp read 11:58 p.m. correct, but the photo showed the victim after we'd moved him. The yellow tarp was pulled back, the body partially rolled onto the gurney. I'd taken that shot, yes, but it should have been image 63, not image 1. I scrolled to the next photo. 11:56 p.m. The body still on the ground, but the amount of blood was less. Noticeably less. The pool beneath his head had shrunk. My chest tightened. I clicked faster. Each photo moved backward. 11:54 p.m., 11:51 p.m., 11:49 p.m. The blood kept receding. The head wound looked less severe. In the image stamped 11:43 p.m., the victim's eyes were open. I sat back, my hands shaking. This wasn't possible. I'd taken these photos in sequence, working from wide to tight, exactly as trained. The camera's metadata was gospel. Every investigator, every attorney, every judge trusted those timestamps. They couldn't be wrong. But they were. I called Holloway. "The photos from tonight, did you see anyone else at the scene before I arrived?" "Just us and the witness," he said. "Why?" "My camera's showing weird timestamps. Can you send me the witness statement?" He forwarded it 10 minutes later. A jogger named Patricia Voss had called 911 at 11:27 p.m. after finding the body. She'd waited with the troopers. Simple. Except my earliest photo, the one stamped 11:31 p.m., showed the victim standing upright beside the road, his back to the camera, facing the tree line. No injuries, no blood. Just a man in running gear, illuminated by my flash. I hadn't taken that photo. I'd never seen him standing. When I arrived, he was already dead under the tarp. I spent the next hour reviewing every image. They progressed backward through his death, the impact, the fall, him jogging along the shoulder, then further back to him stretching beside a car I didn't recognize, a dark sedan with no visible plates. In the photo stamped 11:18 p.m., he was sitting in the driver's seat, the interior light on, looking directly at the camera, at me. His expression wasn't fear, it was recognition. I zoomed in on his face, on the background visible through the windshield. Behind him, barely visible in the darkness, was another figure, standing in the road, watching. The image was too dark, too degraded to make out details, but the figure's posture suggested someone waiting, someone patient. I didn't sleep that night. By dawn, I documented every anomaly, cross-referenced the metadata, checked the camera's firmware. No corruption, no malfunction. The files were clean. Dr. Portman called at 8 a.m. "Marcus, I need you to come to the morgue." Her tone made my stomach drop. The victim lay on the table, prepped for autopsy, but not yet opened. Dr. Portman stood beside him, her face pale. When we undressed him, we found this. She held up an evidence bag. Inside was a piece of paper, folded small, tucked into his sock. "It's a photo," she said. "Printed, not digital." She handed me the bag. I held it up to the light. It was a photograph of me, standing beside my car on Old Pump Station Road. The timestamp in the corner read 11:31 p.m., the same time as my reversed images. But this photo was taken from the tree line, looking down at the scene. Someone had been watching me photograph the scene. No, someone had been photographing me at the exact moment I was photographing the victim alive in my camera's impossible timeline. "There's more," Dr. Portman said quietly. She gestured to the body. "His injuries aren't consistent with a vehicle strike. The trauma pattern suggests he fell, or jumped, from significant height. There's nothing to jump from on that road," I said. "I know." She paused. "And Marcus, his stomach contents. He ate dinner approximately 6 hours before death, but the restaurant receipt in his wallet is dated tomorrow. Tomorrow, November 15th. I drove back to Old Pump Station Road in full daylight. I needed to see it again, needed to understand. The pavement showed no skid marks, no debris. I walked the shoulder where the body had been, then moved into the tree line where the watching figure had stood. That's when I found the camera. It was mounted to a tree, 15 feet up, concealed behind branches. Professional setup, weatherproof housing, no identifying marks. The SD card slot was empty, but the mounting bracket was warm, recently active. I took photos of it, establishing shots, serials, angles. When I reviewed them later, the camera in the tree appeared in every image, but in each successive shot, it was pointed in a different direction. Image 1, facing the road. Image 2, facing slightly left. Image 3, facing me. I stopped taking photos. My phone rang. "Holloway. Chen, we got an ID on the victim. David Pritchard, 34, lives in White Plains. But there's something you should know. His wife reported him missing this morning. Says he never came home from his run last night." "That matches our timeline," I said. "No." Holloway's voice was strained. "She called it in at 7 a.m. today, but the phone log shows the same number called us 2 weeks ago. Same report, same missing person. We logged it as a prank call. The air felt thin. What happened 2 weeks ago? Nothing. No body found. Case went cold." I ended the call and opened my photo archive from 2 weeks prior. I'd worked 3 scenes that week, A drowning, a cardiac event, a suicide, standard cases. But buried in the drowning file was a single image I didn't remember taking. It showed David Pritchard standing in the water, waist deep, facing the shore. The timestamp read, October 31st. He was looking at the camera, at me. His lips were moving, forming words I couldn't hear. Behind him, in the water, dozens of figures stood motionless, too far away to identify, just shapes in the darkness, watching. I went to the precinct that afternoon and requested every unsolved hit-and-run case from Old Pump Station Road. 3 files, 3 victims over 6 years, different dates, different circumstances. I reviewed the crime scene photos from each case. Every single one had reverse timestamps. Every single one showed the victim alive in the earliest images, looking at the camera, looking at whoever had been documenting them. And in the background of each photo, always just visible, in the tree line or across the water or down the road, the same figure, waiting. That night, I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. No subject line, just an attachment, a photo file. I shouldn't have opened it. The image showed me sitting at my desk. At that exact moment, the timestamp read 11:31 p.m., still November 14th, still the same impossible time, but the date was wrong. The date was 6 months in the future. In the photo, I was documenting a scene, crime scene tape, emergency lights, a body on the ground covered by a yellow tarp. The location was unmistakable Old Pump Station Road. Same curve, same stretch of asphalt. I zoomed in on the body beneath the tarp. The running shoes were visible, New Balance blue and gray, the same shoes I was wearing right now. I shut my laptop and sat in the darkness of my office. Outside, the city hummed with ordinary life traffic, sirens, voices. Inside, my camera sat on the desk, its lens pointed at nothing, or at something I couldn't see yet. I still go to work, I still photograph scenes, but now I check every image immediately. Watch for timestamps that don't align. Look for figures in backgrounds that shouldn't be there. Last week, I was called to a scene on Old Pump Station Road. Vehicular incident. Single victim, unresponsive. When I arrived, the troopers were new, young, unfamiliar with the road's history. The body was already covered. I took my photos, 63 images, methodical and thorough. Everything by the book. I didn't look at them until I got back to the office. They're developing in reverse again. And in the final image, stamped with tomorrow's date, I'm standing beside my car, in the darkness, setting up my equipment. Behind me, just visible in the tree line, a figure watches. It's closer than before. The ME's office requested my files this morning for the case report. I sent them the standard documentation, the photos that make sense, that follow chronological order, that won't raise questions, but I kept the others, the impossible ones, the ones developing backward through time. I keep them because I need to understand what I'm documenting, whether I'm recording deaths that already happened or deaths that haven't occurred yet, or whether I'm the one being recorded. My camera sits on my desk right now, pointed at the door. The lens cap is on. I checked it twice, but the small red light beneath the shutter button is glowing, steady and patient. Recording? I haven't turned it on in 3 days.